its virtue, and compassion fills the heart that bows before its creator. Be firm against your own ego, yet gentler than gentle towards others. For kindness is strength, and mercy is a language every heart understands. Our next presenter today is Fatima. Fatima is originally from Senegal and moved to the US 3 years ago. She currently works as a project manager and recently completed her master's in international relations, specializing in diplomacy and multilateralism. Before coming to the US, Fatima taught English at Yogo Stadium, a Hizmet-inspired school in Senegal, where she discovered the joy of education and the power of service. She is passionate about building bridges between cultures, promoting understanding, and contributing to a world rooted in compassion and shared humanity. Now please, help me invite Fatima to the stage.
Thank you, Lauren. Hello, everyone. My name is Fatima. I'm from Senegal. And for those who don't know, Senegal is located in West Africa. I still remember the day that I met my first Turkish friends. They were so beautiful and gentle souls, full of light and sincerity. One day, they invited me to a halakha gathering, and I just went out of curiosity. But what I discovered that day touched something very deep inside me. The way they spoke about Islam with such love, clarity, and reflection opened a door in my heart. It wasn't about rituals or rules. It was about meaning. It was about living with purpose. You see, I never planned to be a teacher because teaching is often undervalued in Senegal, and I thought that wasn't my path. But life has a way of guiding us where we're meant to be. When I started teaching in a Hizmet school in Senegal, everything changed. I discovered that teaching is not a simple job. It is a mission of love, a mission of building hearts as well as brains. And also, true leadership is not about power. It is about service. It is about serving by example. It is about inspiring through compassion and empathy. That experience did not change me, not just as a teacher, but as a human being. And then I realized I wasn't alone. There are thousands and thousands of the teachers all around the world that share the same values of education, dedication, empathy. And together, we form a movement of people who believe true change starts with the heart. And now, as I stand before you, like someone completely changed by that journey, and someone who is willing to continue to serve with love and hope. Now, let's move to my first section. That's going to be about Hocaefendi Unmatched humility and compassion. When we look at the life of those who have truly changed the world, they have common traits: humility and compassion. Hocaefendi embodied both in their purest form. And now let's dive into his servant leadership. Hocaefendi often reminds us that true leadership starts with servanthood. You have a very beautiful picture here that illustrated. When he was a young imam in Izmir, he would cook for his students with his own hands. Can you imagine? A teacher, a leader, a scholar who served meals with humility and love. And also, Hocaefendi did not regard humility as a sign of weakness, but as the pinnacle of spiritual awareness. Because I think, and I deeply believe that, all start with that awareness. Awareness of our limitation and a complete dependence on God. Because when we recognize our fragility, arrogance dissolves, and our heart softens, ready to receive the divine grace. He also refused the lure of fame, calling it poisonous honey, sweet at first taste, deadly to soul. And you have here a very rare picture of his own bedroom. And I think that picture speaks by itself. A very simple and modest bedroom, reflecting a heart which is detached from the worldly comfort. Even with millions of followers across the world, he never sought luxury or recognition. For Hocaefendi, humility is not the shadow of greatness, it is its essence. And it's through humility that the human hearts become vast enough to reflect the divine compassion and is strong enough to carry the weight to serve the others. Now let's move to Hocaefendi's vision of love and compassion. And here is, I think you have it in English. Oh, sorry. Yes. So now let's move to Hocaefendi's vision of love and compassion. And there is a very beautiful definition of compassion here. For Hocaefendi, compassion is not a feeling to cherish in silence. It's a divine call to action. And that compels the believer to engage with the world. Because his humility reflects his vision of humility reached every corner of creation, even the tiniest living being. He lived by his own works. We must have a seed for every person in our hearts. And this sacred understanding of compassion became the heartbeat of his man. It moved hearts and hands to establish schools, charities, and foundations that reach the forgotten and uplift the broken, serving people of every color, every creed, every nation. And here is something very important. These efforts are not acts of pity, but they are a profound spiritual solidarity, a recognition that to serve humanity is to serve God Himself. For Hocaefendi, humility and compassion are inseparable. Together, they form the essence of his man, a life devoted to love, service, and the betterment of humanity. Not for reward, not for recognition, but for the pleasure of the one who is the most compassionate and the most merciful. Now, before we speak of movements, institutions, or global impact, I would like to talk about the vision. A vision of a man who dared to dream differently. Hocaefendi's vision was not born from ambition, but from devotion. He believed the truest way to serve God was by serving humanity through knowledge, education, and compassion. His dream was to awaken the hearts, enlighten the brains, and raise a generation of young people guided by both reason and faith, silence and spirituality. And this vision gave birth to a legacy. And now let's continue to our next slide. Actually, this is my favorite one. It's about Hocaefendi visionary leadership. Because one of the most profound dimensions of Hocaefendi vision has been his unwavering commitment to education as a means of human dignity and empowerment. And now here is more evident that his impact on girls' education, guided by his belief that knowledge is a divine truth. The Hizmet movement opened doors for thousands of girls all around the world, those who might otherwise have been denied access to education. In some regions, such as Afghanistan, Central Asia, and some part of Africa, this could have offered young women the chance to learn, to live, and to dream. Something very important, to dream beyond traditional boundaries. And their success story reflects not only high academic achievement, but a transformation in social attitude towards women. And I was a teacher during 5 years in a Hizmet school in Senegal. And I really can say I'm proof of that. Female teachers, educated, confident, and compassionate, serve as role model, embodying the value of knowledge, faith, and service. For many girls, education in this environment became a gateway to professional career, even within very conservative societies, where such paths were unclosed. In essence, Hocaefendi's vision for girls' education is both for intellectual and spiritual impact. In this vision, where education became a sacred act, every girl, through learning, became a light of humanity. Now, let's move to Hizmet global networking. At the heart of Hizmet movement is charitable and humanitarian work, the living expression of faith through service. And I'm just going to give example of two charities. There are noble associations such as Embrace Relief and Kim Seyokmo, and they led extraordinary effort to support all communities across the world. And for this time, I decided to emphasize more on Kim Seyokmo in Africa. You have few pictures here that illustrate their activities. Kim Seyokmo operates in over 12 countries in Africa. We have Sudan, Ethiopia, Uganda, Somalia, where it built schools, hospitals, and dormitories. And beyond these, it also carried out the humanitarian part in some countries such as Nigeria, Guinea, and my country, Senegal. And I will never finish this section without mentioning the excellent work that our local branch of Embrace Relief is currently doing in Virginia. There are several activities, including the Soup Kitchen Project. You have 3 pictures right here. The Highway Clinic and the Homeless Shelter. And through both charitable action and dialogue, he's made sure that faith is not a solitary experience. It is a life that we serve and we connect when we transform the world through compassion and understanding. Here's the last part about my takeaway. Now I'm going to close with few questions for you. How will we carry the light forward? And also, how will we serve not being seen, but truly make difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Fatima. Amazing presentation. And I'd like to give words to yours to get her overall feedback.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Fatima. I think you've seen a work of several months. So I think we can talk about Hocaefendi's leadership for 4 years, and I think we should. I think our group did the preparation, challenges about not having enough English books. You can imagine enough English sermons. This group is really tried so hard to give justice to Hocaefendi's leadership. So we really put another hand of applause for them. I think the presentation was great. Basically they really shared with you their feelings and their findings. As I said, I don't claim to do justice to Hocaefendi's leadership in these slides, but hopefully you saw the design starting from soil to the flowers at the end at the organization. So we tried to, include some small pieces. We can't appreciate Hocaefendi's leadership enough, and hopefully as many Hizmet people as there is, it's going to continue to be understood, to be applied. And I think the organizational aspect will be studied, so hopefully you guys at least got a flavor about all the hard work that this group did. So thank you so much.